Hi, and welcome back to the Knatters Knits podcast. My name is Natalie, also known as Knatters Knits all over the internet. Thank you very much for checking me out, and welcome back to the podcast if this is, if you've come back before. And hi and welcome if this is the first time you've ever come to see me. Those of you who have seen me before will probably notice that the lighting is a little bit different. Hopefully it's better. I've been out today and I bought some daylight bulbs in the hopes that I can improve things a bit, and hopefully you can see a little bit more clearly now. As you can tell, I'm feeling very, very upbeat, and I'd like to say thank you for everybody's wishes for those of you who realised I wasn't very well. I am much, much better, thank you very much, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it later on. So today is Sunday the 10th of January and it's 2016. I can't believe that already we're nearly halfway through January. Where's the time going? Just crazy, just crazy. So, as this is a knitting podcast, I'm going to get on and talk about some knitting. So, the first thing is I've got a finished object to show you. You would have seen it last time if I'd recorded, so sorry about that. But these are the Morris mittens by Woolly One. And they are, as you can tell, a pair of baby mittens. Quite small. If I put them on my thumb like that, you can see how small they are. And they're on a little string. I'm not sure about the string yet. Maybe it's a choking hazard, maybe it's not. I need to finish off that end a bit better. But therefore, hopefully my grandbaby, or as they've come out rather pink, if the grandbaby is going to be a boy, then they won't be for grandbaby, but as I don't know yet, the scan that they have for confirming the sex isn't for a couple of weeks yet, so I can't wait to see what happens. Right, so that I finished sort of over Christmas time and just after New Year must have been, because I don't think I finished the last podcast, and that was just before New Year, so that's that one. The other thing I've been working on pretty exclusively, I have to say, is my blanket squares. I've been doing the mitered square pattern, about 32 stitches to make a 16 by 16 stitch square, and they've come out like this and like this, and as you can tell I've actually sewn more of them on together, so now it looks this way around. Maybe come back a bit. That's better. Quite funky. It's 5 rows long and 4 rows wide, and what I've done now is I've picked up all the stitches, and after discussion with all the peeps on Instagram, I'm thankful rather for suggestions from Sarah, who's Lil Angels 2, I think. Anyway, Sarah knows who she is. I've decided to pick up all the way around, and the yarn that I've been using so far is this. You may recognise it because I've been trying to use up this ball for quite some time now. It's the one I used for my daughter's hat and for the baby hat that were matching. She's had those for Christmas and she really liked those, so I thought I'd also edge the blanket with it. So I picked up all the stitches and marked each of the corners so that I could increase at the corners to make it get bigger. The only thing I forgot was, when you're going round in the round, if you just keep going round and round and round, it'll be stocking stitch, and I wanted garter stitch. So I don't know if you can see that there. Fortunately it's hidden quite well by the fact that the yarn is quite variegated, but I think I've cracked it now. So I'm cracking on with that one. Let's pull that down there like that. So that's that one. I also decided that this year I ought to get on with some of my unfinished objects, I should say, my UFOs. I still, every time I think of UFOs, I think of unidentified flying objects. So what I've done so far is I've picked up my jumper And the reason I've got nothing to show you particularly is because for the first time ever, and I have been knitting for years and years and years, I decided I wasn't going to live with a mistake. I decided that it needed to look right if I was going to wear it on a regular basis, especially to work. So I tinked back about, it's much, what, 4 or 5 inches, something like that. What an effort. But I'm glad I did, because I've made a right mess of it. So I went all the way back, and I'm now just about caught up. I'm now on row 3 of the pattern, and that's what I've got to pick up and do next. Excuse me. We're in the Simpsons mug today, and it's orange juice. I felt the need for a little bit of vitamin C. Okay, so that's where I am with works in progress at the moment and finished objects. I've tried really hard to keep up my resolution of not buying any more yarn, and I've sort of kept to it. Depends on how you take the one purchase. No, I've made 2 or 3 purchases. The light bulbs, as you can see, have made a huge difference to the lighting, and one of them is actually on the light that I use when I'm actually sitting crafting, especially at 3-4 in the morning. It really does help to have daylight, and actually I'm feeling quite a bit brighter. So whether it is a daylight issue that I have, and that's why I feel so miserable, I don't know. So that was that one. Then I bought a magazine, and it's one of those D'Agostino knitting, get so many issues, and you build up this collection of knitting patterns and learn how to knit and everything. But I don't intend buying the rest of the series. I only wanted it because it had a really good sewing up needle, a couple more bamboo needles, and the magazine. It was 99p. I mean, let's face it, for what was 60 cents, something like that, or maybe it's the other way around, $1.20, something like that. It wasn't a huge amount, so I didn't mind doing that. But it did come with 2 balls of yarn, but I didn't buy it for the yarn, and that's my excuse. It is honest. so I bought that, and I've also bought some oil for my spinning wheel, but I don't think that counts really. I don't think that's not, it was no more yarn, wasn't it? Let's face it. So it's not no more spending, just no more yarn. So from that point of view, I'm doing okay. However, at this point I'm going to talk about stash enhancement, because I should have in front of me a lovely load of Miss Babs yarn. I ordered it at the end of December, paid for it, and I regretted paying for it straight away because I got my conversions wrong, and I'd worked out it was actually a lot more money than I'd intended spending. But I don't mind, because it's Miss Babs yarn, it's really nice. Then of course there was international shipping on top of that, so that was another lot of money. And then it hadn't arrived, and I followed the tracking, and I don't know about you, but I get really impatient when I know there's something I'm really looking forward to and really expecting to come. So I was doing really well, really patient. I saw that it got from the States to the UK, and I'm thinking, yeah, it won't be long. And in fact, it managed to do that. It was over here by the beginning of 2016, and I still haven't got it, and it's the 10th. Right, there's quite a simple reason for that: customs. So when the letter came the day before yesterday, it said, you owe so much money, give us your money and you can have your parcel. I went online, tried to do it, couldn't do it because I didn't have the right number, so rang up the call centre. They were really great, sorted that out. So I went back online, paid for it, and it said, oh, for an extra amount, you can have it tomorrow. And because I'm impatient, I paid the extra. And where is it? Come on, Parcel Force. I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all. It's been in the UK 10 days and it still hasn't got here. It managed to get all the way from the States to the UK in 2. Come on guys, what is with this? It just isn't on. So I'm not very happy. And I suppose that's partly why I haven't started any more objects yet, because I wanted to see that, feel it, sort of get a feeling for what I wanted to make out of it. And so I haven't started anything big yet, but I'm still looking out for patterns for that. So that's that stash enhancement. The other things I've been up to, well, last Sunday when I wasn't feeling very well, some of the girls from the guild, and I call them girls from the guild, but I think they're all older than me. Well, most of them are. Anyway, the ladies from the guild came over because I've been muttering about this stash of fleece that I've got that I need to get rid of. And we're not talking about 3-4 fleeces, we're talking about 100 kilograms. So that's 200 and odd pounds of fleece sitting in the garage. Been sat there for a while, over a year, maybe over 2 years. And because I hadn't looked at it at the time, I felt really, really bad. And I thought, oh no, what happens if mice have got to it, or it's been eaten by moths, or it's not very nice. I should have checked it a lot earlier. Well, I was so happy. I just pulled a little bit off because the girls took about 6 or 8 fleeces that they wanted, and I pulled a little bit off, quite a mucky looking thing, and just put it to soak. And look at this, look at it, it's as white as that, and I haven't carded it yet. Isn't it adorable? And I don't know if you can see there, possibly not, there's loads and loads of crimp on it as well. Really pleased with this. It all appears to be Jacob's, although I think there may be some other fleeces in there. I just haven't got to the bottom of them all yet. So as soon as the weather improves a little bit, I'm going to start. But of course, it's England, it's the north of England, and it's pouring with rain. So, you know, what can you do? But this, doesn't smell sheepy anymore because I've soaked it. It is absolutely, so I can get my hands from here. Can you see that? Just about to see that crimp there. Well, for those of you who aren't spinners, crimp is just like when you crimp your hair, and you know, and you used to get this sort of zigzag. It's exactly what you're looking for in one. It's got body, it's got life, and this is just so fine and so lovely. So I'm looking forward to spinning that up this week. As I say, there's only a handful, it's not a huge amount, because I've still got on the go my John Arbor fibre that I've been spinning. I've got about 600 grams I think so far of this spun up, and I'm sure I've shown you on the podcast before. That's what it looks like. Oh, the colours are so much better with this lighting, aren't they? Yeah. So there's that one I can make into something as well. So I've got 2 skeins of that, 2 very large skeins. That's where the baby blanket went. Right. Okay, so that's what I've got on the needles, on the wheel still. And my Christmas present from Phil came. You probably remember I was talking about getting extra bobbins for my spinning wheel, and the whole thing about Ashford ones not being done first of all. Acreworks didn't do Ashfords to start off with, but they do now. And here's the next one. Wrong colour again, but never mind. It's purple. It just looks blue to me on my screen, but believe me or not, it's quite a dark purple. I don't know. No, it's not doing it. It really isn't doing it. But anyway, this is the design that Phil chose for me. I've on that end. And I love the fact that you can actually see through. So when you're spinning onto the bobbin, you can actually see the colours if you're doing a gradient or whatever. And the fact that these come apart. Yeah, I am raving about them again, aren't I? Sorry folks, but I do love this. This is really nice. So let's put that down on the spinning wheel. And that one's ready to go. So, I don't know what else to talk to you about at the moment. looking at other podcasts and watching those, I've been watching the Sip and Stitch podcast this week, and I was really shocked to find that I got a mention, which was really nice. So, hi, right back at you. That was a really good one, and that lady comes from Texas, so she's a good one to watch. I do enjoy her. She's only been knitting for about a year, so I find it quite interesting getting a sort of a newbie perspective on it. And what really challenges me and excites me is the whole attitude of, oh, I've got to learn more, I've got to do this, I've got to try this. So within a year of starting to knit, she's already done socks, she's trying colour work. It's just fascinating to see younger people having a go and really getting into it, and it really inspires me to crack on and learn a bit more as well. So having said that, I've tried a little bit of magic loop the other day. Nah, not for me. Not for me at all. I can't be fiddling and faffing. I prefer my DPNs, so I now know that that's what I like. So the next thing I need to try and find, when I finish the pair of socks I got on the needles, which is sitting languishing behind me over here, is toe-up socks. I've got to have a go at that. One of the things I'm quite proud of myself with for over Christmas is I really seem to have at last, and it's taken quite a few years, cracked the whole grafting thing, and grafting my socks, and I'm so pleased with it. Now I've twigged what I'm doing, and the reason I managed to get that, become sort of twigged and worked out exactly what was I'd been watching a Craftsy class about grafting, and the lady there explains it all and goes over it and over it and over it. And the thing I like about Craftsy classes is you can pause it and go back and keep playing it over and over and over, which is really, really good for me, because, you know, lights are on, nobody's home sometimes. So sometimes it takes me a while to get things if I'm not actually physically there in front of them. But I think I've finally got that now, although I do, every time I have had a period where I haven't done any grafting, I go back to the Craftsy class and do it again. Excuse me. Well, that caught me unawares. Wow. So that's really, really good. I feel that I need to tackle more lace, and I think probably the cardigan that I'm making, the design is one of those sort of triangular, and I think it's a falling leaf type pattern inside it, should be enough to try and get me to concentrate my mind. I'm just not very good, because I tend to sit of an evening on my sofa knitting, and I have the iPad on as well and the TV. I'm doing too many things at once to concentrate, and even though I write it down and do things like that, it just isn't working. So I think the biggest challenge for me this year is going to be toe-up socks. However, it's now the middle of January, and in the middle of February I'm going to Manchester for the weekend, and a lady called Jolie, who does what's currently called Jolie's Kitchen podcast, but it's about to change. She's in the middle of changing the name and rethinking how she works. Is putting on a retreat in one of the hotels in Manchester for the weekend, and I've signed up to a couple of classes, and there's an evening where we just spend time together and socialise as well. So I'm hoping that I should pick up more there about learning to design, and it'll give me the impetus to get on and crack on and do a bit more, because I have got an idea for something in my head, and I know exactly what I want to do and how I want it to look. So I just need to knuckle down now and swatch for it and do those sorts of things. So I've got to get on and do that, but that's quite exciting. So that's what I'm up to at the moment. So what are you up to? The Ravelry boards seem to have gone rather quiet, so I've no idea what you're up to. I haven't managed to catch another of Caroline's podcasts, so I'm not sure where she's up to. And I know there's a lady who follows me on Facebook but won't join Ravelry, who, I couldn't believe it. I was sat up till 5:30 this morning knitting because I couldn't sleep, and also I'd napped during the day, and my son was out on a night out, and I wanted to stay up and make sure that he got home okay. I know he's 25, but the mum in you just can't let go sometimes, can it? You do worry about them. So he rolled in between 5 and 5:30 this morning, and so I packed him and his friend off to bed upstairs, and then I turned over and went to sleep. But while I was there, this lady that I know that watches the podcast on Facebook, that sort of follows me on Facebook, was also up, and she was telling me off for being an insomniac. But hello, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and you were up too, and so I don't feel so bad. And actually, it was quite nice to have some company. The other thing I did on, what day is it now? It's Sunday, Saturday. So maybe it was Friday night, was I joined in a VKN run by James, the Dancing Geek. Hi James. It was lovely to see him again, because he hasn't podcasted for a few weeks. And I've noticed that he's a gamer, and he's been doing all sorts of like Dungeons and Dragons and things. So it's nice to see him get excited about things again, because he's had a little bit of a low time, I think. So that made me really, really happy, and to be on a podcast with him and Flo and Stacey, who's the Fibre Jedi, and a few others, is really, really nice. And it's something strange, isn't it, about knowing people from all over the world. And I can't get over it. It's just really nice to be able to spend time, because I don't see a lot of people, with it being dark here and of an evening and people don't go out. So it was nice to spend time with people that way. So, which makes me think perhaps we should have another VKN. Anybody up for it? If you are, go into the VKN thread on the Ravelry group. That's the Knatters Knits, and that's KNATTERS.knits. Or not .knits, as the case may be on Ravelry. Then let me know what you think. Would you be up for a virtual knit night again? Would you like me to make it a regular thing? I know that several people popped in while I did the last one, but they didn't pop in at the same time, so it was just a one-on-one, me and them each time. So it'd be quite nice if we could get it going on a regular basis, if you're interested. Obviously, if you're not, then we won't do it. But that was that one. So what else was I going to talk to you about? You know how things flash into your mind and you think, oh yes, I need to talk about that. And then it went out the other side again. Yeah. Oh, that's what it was, knit-alongs. There seem to be an awful lot of knit-alongs on Ravelry at the moment, and although I love knit-alongs, I don't know whether you want me to run one, or whether you want me to hang on because everybody else is doing them. What you'd like to do. Is there a particular item that you'd like to do a knit-along for? I know there are lots of knit-alongs for socks and hats and cowls. Is there something else? Or do you like those things? Or would you like something new? Would you like something for a baby or an adult? Is there a particular technique you'd like me to do? Would you like it? Are there any videos out there that seem to be missing out of all the videos that are on YouTube? Do you want more technique videos, or would you like tutorials? What sort of things do you want? Do pop along to the group and let me know, and then I'll see what I can do to oblige. I know that people are interested in dyeing and spinning, and if that's what you're interested in and you want to see something specific, then that's fine, I'll do that for you. But if you're not, then let me know, because obviously this is podcast I want to be about you guys and what you want to be able to see. So it's no good for me doing stuff for you if it's not what you want to see. It's wasting my time, but also it makes it boring for you too. So the other thing I'd really like you to do is to just let people know that the podcast's there, if you wouldn't mind. Point them to it on YouTube, because I'd love to grow the amount of people that I get watching the podcast. I'd love to be able to do more in the way of prizes, but I can't sort of grow the podcast to any extent without the help of people who watch it. So please do recommend me to other people if you think it's something that's worth watching. Don't tell them it's not worth watching. I don't want people to shrink the amount we've got, but please do, let other people know if that's what you'd like. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. I've told you about this. Actually, if I put that and that together, I wonder if you can see the difference there. See, this is just flat and falls. This will stand on its own no matter what I do. There's so much more body and airiness, whereas this is just, well, it is what it is. So I should be really intrigued. In fact, I might try and video me spinning this so that you can actually see it, because it's absolutely lovely. Just twisting it now, just to look how gorgeous that yarn is. And yeah, it's really sound, makes a lovely noise. Good quality fleece. So I should be up to my armpits in dirty sheep's fleeces for the next few months. Right, on that note, I think I ought to think about signing off, because I am prattling and it is getting up to the half hour now. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to try this week to get on and finish that blanket, do some more of my cardigan, and think about what I should do next. So with that in mind, I'm going to go off to have my tea and to get on with it. I'm going to love you and leave you and say, I hope you have a great week. Do pop in and say hi on the board, on Ravelry, or via Instagram where I'm Knatters Knits, or on the Facebook page Knatters Knits. And I shall see you all next week. I hope you have a great week, and thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.